Welcome to Calm Before Dreams, a quiet place where gentle stories and soft atmospheres guide you toward peaceful rest. Tonight, our journey leads us to a quiet house, a place where worries are not carried but gently set down, where every thought is allowed to soften and nothing asks anything more of you. I find myself remembering the first time I found that house. I arrived without quite knowing how. There was no clear road behind me, no memory of choosing a direction. And yet, somehow, I found myself standing before a quiet house that did not seem to belong to any map I had ever known. It felt as though I had been expected, not in a way that demanded anything from me, but in a quiet, patient way. As if the house had simply been waiting until I was ready to notice it. Tonight, this place feels different from anywhere I have been. There is no pressure here. No sense of needing to explain myself. No urgency to become anything other than what I already am in this moment. And as I stand here, I begin to understand slowly, gently. This is a place where I can set things down. A place where the weight I have been carrying does not need to be held so tightly. A place where even my quietest thoughts are allowed to rest. Before I step closer, I pause for just a moment. And if you are here with me, listening quietly, you might take this time too, to settle in, to soften your breath. And perhaps, if it feels right, let me know where you are listening from and what time of day or night it is for you. There is no rush. The house will wait. And so, for now, I simply stand here, at the edge of something calm, ready in my own time to step inside. I begin to move toward the door, slowly, as though there is no distance I need to measure and no time I need to keep. Each step feels quieter than the last. The ground beneath my feet is steady, familiar in a way I cannot quite explain. As if it understands the weight I have been carrying and is already helping me hold less of it. The air here is different. It is not completely still, but it is calm. Like a long breath that has already been exhaled. I notice my shoulders soften slightly, not because I ask them to, but because something in this place does not require them to remain tense. When I reach the door, I do not hesitate. There is no question of whether I am allowed inside. Instead, there is only a quiet knowing that I can enter whenever I am ready. I place my hand against the surface. It is warm, not from heat, but from something gentler. Something lived in, something steady. And then, without effort, I step inside. The warmth meets me first. Not all at once, not overwhelming, but gradual. Like the way evening light settles into a room. I pause just beyond the threshold. For a moment, I do nothing. I simply stand and let myself arrive. My breathing slows, naturally, without instruction. The small movements of my body begin to quiet, as though they no longer need to keep pace with anything outside this place. There is no urgency here. No expectation. Only a soft, steady sense that I can remain exactly as I am. And so I stay, just for a while, letting the stillness gently find me, and settle. It feels like late evening here, though I cannot say how I know. The light has already begun to dim, not suddenly, but in that slow and natural way that happens when a day quietly lets go of itself. I notice a soft glow resting in the room. It comes from a single lamp placed on a wooden table. Its light warm and steady, never too bright, never asking for attention. Outside, beyond the walls, there is a quiet world continuing without me. I can hear it faintly, the distant movement of wind through unseen trees. A gentle rhythm that rises and falls without urgency. Nothing calls me back. Nothing pulls me away. For the first time in a while, I feel separate from everything that once felt immediate. Inside, the air carries a quiet scent. Something simple, something familiar, like tea that has been left to rest. Or wood that has held warmth for many years. I cannot name it exactly, and I realize I do not need to. The floor beneath me is smooth, worn in places where others must have walked before. There is comfort in that. A quiet reminder that I am not the first to arrive here. And that I do not need to understand everything about this place for it to hold me gently. I take a few more steps inside. Not exploring, not searching, just moving in a way that feels natural. The room does not change, and yet it feels deeper the longer I remain. As if time here is not measured in minutes, but in the slow settling of breath, the soft easing of thought, the quiet acceptance of simply being present. And so I allow myself to stay within this moment, without needing to move forward, without needing to return. Just here, where the evening continues to soften, and everything feels quietly enough. Nothing inside this house feels unusual, and yet everything feels softer than what I am used to. I notice small details first. A kettle resting near what must be a hearth, not boiling, not forgotten, simply waiting in its own time. A chair placed near the table, with a folded blanket draped carefully across one arm, as if it has been left there for whoever might need it next. Near the door, a pair of shoes sits neatly side by side. Not arranged with precision, but with quiet care. Like something done without thinking, a habit formed over many gentle days. I move a little further into the room. There is no sense of intrusion. Nothing here resists my presence, and nothing demands my attention. It feels like a place where things happen slowly, naturally, without being pushed. Even the air seems to follow this rhythm. It does not press against me, it does not rush past, it simply surrounds, steady and calm. I begin to realize that this house is lived in, but not in a hurried way. There are no signs of rush, no unfinished urgency left behind. Only a quiet continuation of small actions, repeated over time, until they have become something peaceful. I imagine the kettle being filled, the blanket being folded, the lamp being lit each evening, not as tasks to complete, but as part of a rhythm that asks for nothing more than presence. And standing here, I feel something shift slightly within me. Not a large change, not something I need to hold on to. Just a small awareness that life, in its simplest form, can move like this too. Slow, steady, and without strain. For a moment, I allow myself to match that pace. And it feels quietly enough. After a while, I begin to notice that I am not alone. It is not something sudden. Not a movement that draws my attention, not a sound that interrupts the stillness, but a quiet awareness that forms gently, as if it has always been there, waiting for me to recognize it. Someone else is in the room. They are not watching me, not studying, not asking anything with their presence. They simply exist here, moving in the same calm rhythm as everything else. I see them now, sitting not far away. Their movements are slow, unhurried, as though time does not press against them either. At some point, they rise. There is no announcement, no need to explain. They move toward the table, placing a cup there with quiet care. Adjusting the lamp slightly so the light settles more evenly across the room. Then, just as gently, they sit down again. Nothing about it feels staged. Nothing feels like it is meant to impress or even to be noticed. It is simply what is happening. After a moment, they slide the cup toward me. A small gesture, steady and unforced. I look at it, then back at them. There is no expectation in their expression. No question waiting for an answer. Only a quiet offering, given freely, without needing anything in return. I reach for the cup. It is warm in my hands, the kind of warmth that settles slowly, spreading without urgency. And for a while, we remain like this. No words passing between us. No need to fill the space. The silence does not feel empty. It feels complete, just as it is. And sitting here, with nothing required of me, I begin to understand that presence alone can be enough. It is only after I sit down, after the warmth settles into my hands, that I begin to notice what I have been carrying. Not all at once. Not as something clear or defined, but as a quiet layering, a presence that has been with me for longer than I realized. Small things gathered over time. Unfinished thoughts that never found their place. Questions that remained unanswered. Not urgent enough to resolve, yet never fully gone. A subtle tension, the kind that builds slowly. From holding everything together, from continuing forward without pause. I do not see these things directly. I feel them, in the way my breath had once been shorter. In the way my shoulders had stayed slightly raised, even when there was no reason. And here, in this space, something changes. The weight does not disappear. Does not need to. Instead, it loosens. Like a grip that no longer has to hold so tightly. I notice my hands resting more easily around the cup. My breathing, slower now, deeper, without effort. There is no voice telling me to let go. No instruction to follow. Only the quiet permission that seems to exist within the walls themselves. I do not have to carry everything in this moment. I do not have to solve anything. For now, it is enough to simply place it down, gently. without needing to sort or understand it. And as I sit here, I realize the weight I carried was never meant to stay lifted all the time. Sometimes it is allowed to rest, just like I am resting now. And in that small understanding, something inside me softens. Just a little more, into the quiet. After a while, I begin to notice that time moves differently here. Not slower in a way that can be measured, not stretched or paused, but softened. It no longer feels like something passing. It feels like something settling. The kettle near the hearth warms, then rests, then warms again. There is no urgency in it. No sense that it must reach a certain moment. It simply follows its own quiet rhythm, rising and easing again and again. The light from the lamp shifts slightly. Not dimming, not brightening, but settling into a deeper warmth as the evening continues to unfold. I cannot tell how long I have been here. There is no need to. Nothing is waiting for me beyond this room. Nothing is asking me to return. Outside, the wind moves gently. I can hear it pass, then fade, then return again. Like a breath that belongs to the world beyond these walls. Even that does not pull me away. It simply exists alongside everything else. I sit quietly, the cup still warm in my hands, though I do not remember lifting it. Moments do not stack here. They do not rush forward or fall behind. They arrive, one after another, without needing to become anything more. Like waves that never need to reach the shore. And somewhere within that quiet rhythm, I begin to feel myself moving with it. Not thinking about time. Not measuring it. Just existing within it as it gently carries everything forward. Without effort, without demand. Until even the idea of time itself feels distant. And all that remains is this steady, unbroken sense of now. At some point, without noticing exactly when, something changes in the room. Not in a way that draws attention, not in a way that asks to be understood, but in a small, quiet gesture. I feel it before I see it. A softness settling across my shoulders. The blanket. It has been placed there gently, without interrupting the stillness. Without asking me to respond. I do not turn immediately. There is no need to. The warmth of it is enough. It rests lightly, yet steadily, like something that knows exactly how much is needed and no more. My hands remain around the cup. The warmth there, the warmth on my shoulders. They seem to belong to the same quiet rhythm. Nothing is separate. Nothing feels out of place. After a while, something else begins to surface. A memory, or perhaps just a feeling. It does not arrive clearly. It does not demand attention. It simply appears, like something that has always been close, waiting for the space to return. I let it stay. I do not try to define it. There is no need to hold on to it tightly. It rests beside me, just as gently as everything else in this house. For a moment, I notice how simple it feels to sit, to breathe, to exist without needing to move forward or look back. The person in the room does not speak. I do not speak. And yet, nothing feels unsaid. The silence holds everything that is needed. And within that silence, these small, quiet moments begin to feel complete on their own, needing nothing more than to be exactly as they are. The room grows quieter, though it was never loud to begin with. It is a different kind of quiet now. Deeper, wider, as if even the smallest movements have begun to rest. I notice that I am no longer shifting in my seat. No longer adjusting, no longer holding anything in place. My body seems to understand something before I fully do. It settles, naturally, without being told. The cup remains in my hands, though I barely feel its edges now. The warmth is still there, but softer, blending into everything else. The blanket rests across my shoulders, unmoving, steady. Even the air feels more still. Not empty, not silent in a hollow way, but full of a calm that does not need to be filled. My thoughts begin to change. They do not stop completely, but they lose their sharpness. They drift, slower now, like something floating rather than moving with purpose. A thought begins, then fades, before it can fully form. Another follows, then softens in the same way. There is nothing to hold on to. Nothing that asks to be finished. And for the first time in a while, that feels all right. My breathing deepens. Not because I guide it, not because I try, but because there is finally space for it to do so. Inhale, slow and steady. Exhale, even softer. Each breath seems to carry less weight than the one before. Time continues, though I barely notice it now. Moments do not pass, they simply exist, one within the next. And as everything slows, I feel myself drifting gently with it. Not away, not lost. Just resting, more fully, within this quiet, steady calm. The house remains unchanged, and yet it feels even softer now. As if the quiet has deepened, settling into every corner, every surface, every small space between things. I am still sitting, though the sense of sitting has begun to fade. There is no effort in it anymore. No awareness of holding myself upright, no need to adjust or remain alert. I am simply here. The person who was across from me, I'm no longer certain where they are. Perhaps they are still there, just beyond my focus. Or perhaps they have stepped away without sound, without leaving anything behind. It does not matter. Their presence or absence carries the same gentle feeling. Nothing has been taken away. The lamp continues to glow. Its light is softer now, warmer, as though it too has settled into the quiet rhythm of this place. Shadows rest along the edges of the room, not dark, not heavy, just calm, like everything else. The air remains warm, steady, unchanging. Outside, the night has fully arrived. I can no longer sense the fading of evening, only the quiet presence of darkness beyond the walls, holding everything in a calm stillness. And here, inside, nothing needs to shift. Nothing needs to end. There is no signal that this moment should pass. No expectation that I should move on, or return, or begin anything new. Everything simply continues. Softly, gently, as it is. And within that quiet continuation, I feel myself resting even more deeply. Not thinking, not holding, not reaching. Just existing here, where nothing is required. And everything is already enough. The quiet deepens, though nothing changes. It is not a silence that arrives, but one that reveals itself. As if it had always been here, waiting beneath everything else. I feel it around me, and within me. A steady calm that does not ask to be noticed, yet holds everything gently in place. My hands have relaxed completely now. At some point, without marking when, the cup is no longer something I am aware of holding. It rests, or perhaps it has been set aside. Either way, it no longer asks for attention. The blanket remains across my shoulders, its warmth constant, unchanged. It feels less like something placed upon me, and more like something that belongs there. My breathing is slow, easy. Each inhale arrives without effort. Each exhale carries a quiet sense of release, as if something small is being set down, again and again. There is nothing left to hold. Nothing left to organize or understand. The thoughts that once moved through me have softened into something distant, like echoes that no longer need to be followed. I do not reach for them. I do not push them away. They simply pass, gently, without leaving anything behind. The room remains as it is. The lamp still glowing. The air still warm. The night steady beyond the walls. Everything continues, without asking me to take part. And in that, I find a quiet permission to rest more fully. To let go, not all at once, but little by little, without effort. Until even the idea of holding on begins to fade. And here, in this steady calm, I can simply remain. Nothing required. Nothing expected. Just this quiet, gentle release, carrying me softly further into rest. Thank you for staying with me as we rested within the quiet walls of that gentle house, a place where every worry was allowed to soften, and every thought could finally grow still. If this journey brought you a sense of calm, you're always welcome to like and subscribe for more peaceful stories to accompany your nights. Sleep deeply. Let your mind grow quiet. And allow anything you've been holding onto to gently rest for now. And as you drift further into sleep, may that quiet house remain with you. A place you can always return to whenever you need to feel safe, light, and at ease. Good night and peaceful dreams.